We are live. Happy Friday, everyone. Hopefully you're having a great Friday so far. Glad to see so many of you piling into the room. Let me refresh my chat so I can see all those people piling into the room. And refreshing. Anyway, well, there we go. They're all popped in now. So with that said, for those of you who are new, my name is Terry White. Hey, Sam. My name is Terry White, worldwide design and photography evangelist here at Adobe. Mostly photography evangelist these days, but I do both. With that said, this is Masterclass Friday. So that means that we're doing our traditional master classes on our various disciplines. And when I say we, I mean the Adobe Evangelist team. So Paul Tranny kicks things off now on Fridays, right before me with a design masterclass, because he does two. I'm trying to remember which one's first. The design masterclass. Then I do one on photography. Then we take a break for a Photoshop daily creative challenge. And then after that, Paul comes back with his Photoshop daily creative challenge. And then after that, I think we have an Illustrator creative challenge now, which is every week or every day. And then after that is Jason Levine doing audio and video. And then after Jason is Howard Pinsky doing Adobe XD, UX UI design. And then after Howard is Kyle Webster doing graphic design or illustration and drawing, I should say. So we have a full packed day of masterclasses, and the best place to watch those masterclasses is here at b.net/Adobe Live. Now, I know there are people watching on YouTube. I see you over there. I see you over there as well. Crosstalk, Jesse, Corinna, Pierre, and I see people watching on Twitter. I see people watching on Facebook. Thanks for watching on all the various channels. It's great that you're watching wherever you're watching from, and you're watching the replays. Great too. But if you want to participate in the chat, that's the site to go to, because I can't watch all the chats simultaneously. So I'm going to be paying attention to the Behance chat, because that's where this show is officially hosted and sponsored by, by Adobe. Anyway, on Adobe Live. All right, so Lisa, I see you over there on Facebook. Thanks for joining me on Facebook. And again, you can hang out wherever you are. You'll still be able to see the whole thing. But if you want to participate in the contest, did I say contest? That's coming up. If you want to participate in the giveaway, that's also going to be on the b.net/Adobe Live chat. So, what contest? What do I mean by it? Not really a contest, but a giveaway. What am I really giving away? This topic, how do I do that in Lightroom, which is today's topic, is actually one I stole/asked a friend if I could borrow. So, I'm always looking for titles and content to do on these masterclasses. And I thought, Scott's got a great book. My friend Scott Kelby's got a great book on just that. It's called How Do I Do That in Lightroom? So let me show you the book. Here's the cover. And there it is. So Scott wrote this book. It's already on the second edition. How do I do that in Lightroom Classic? He's specifically mentioning or speaking on Classic in the book. I'm going to try and cover a little bit of both. But he also, I said, Scott, your title's really great. I'm not going to steal your content, but I really want to do that title. Is that okay with you? He said, absolutely. Not only is it okay, but you could even give away one of my books. So we're going to pick a name. I don't know how yet I'm going to do that, but we're going to pick a name randomly. Maybe I'll just point at the screen. Who's ever on the screen at the time, we'll do it. We'll give it to that person. And I'll get your contact info, and they'll ship you that book directly from Kelby One. But for those that are interested in the book, here I think I have the link to it. Let's go ahead and put that in. I don't have it copied though. Oh, that's the wrong keyboard, that's why. Nope, we don't want that one. Hang on a second, I'm going to give you the link to the book. And that way you guys can, whoever doesn't win it but is interested in it, you can go check it out. If that works. Yeah, that worked. Okay, so there's the link to the book. And here I can even put it in the other chats as well. Let's see if I can do that. Boom, it's over there. And let's put it in I have so many chat windows. This is why I'm only going to pay attention to one chat window today. But we'll put it there as well. Boom, and we'll put it here as well. and boom. Okay, so that's it. That's what the class today is based on, is how do I do that in Lightroom from the book. But we're going to go ahead and again, grab the title, but I'm going to do my own spin on the actual content. So once again, today's topic for the next 49 minutes is how do I do that in Lightroom? And I'm just going to do a rapid fire of things that people want to know how to do or things that people ask about, and show you how to do those things in Lightroom. So in no particular order, I've got a long list of things. Maybe we'll get through them all. Maybe we won't. If not, we'll save them for next time. And by the way, next week's class is on the other book with the similar title. So it's how do I do that in Photoshop? So 2 weeks of, and I guess he'll give me a book to give away that week as well. So 2 weeks of how to do stuff in Lightroom and how to do stuff in Photoshop. All right, so with that said, let me bounce out of this and let's scroll up in my collection and let's go ahead and get started. And you guys can see my screen, and I took the banner off. All right, first thing, and again, these are in no particular order. It's just as I was randomly like adding things that I saw either in his table of contents or came up with on my own. But again, the content is my own images and my own way of doing it. So one of his topics in his book is how to make images easier to find. So for me, again, I didn't go look to see what he wrote, but I did think about, like, if I were going to answer that question, a couple things I would tell people to do. So first and foremost, Lightroom has a search capability. So you can go ahead and just, you can go ahead and do a text-based search on any folder, the whole thing. You can go to all photos and do a search, but it's only going to search for text that actually exists in the image. Now, if you didn't put in keywords, if you didn't do anything special, then it probably won't find what you're looking for. So one of the things I recommend is that people do one of two, if not both things. So you notice that these images are named. They're named after that person. So if I were to search for Krista, I'm going to find her images, even if I never keyworded them, because I named them, even if I don't remember what folder they're in, even if I don't remember what collection they're in. So we're going to always be able to find them because I renamed them. They're no longer the name that came off the camera. I'm going to get to that as a tip on how to actually do the renaming, but that's one quick way to do it. The other way to do it is to think about your collections and your structure. So for example, let's say I'm looking for a picture from Paris. Let's say I didn't even rename it. I didn't use any keywords. I didn't do anything. But because I have a pretty decent collection structure, I can still probably get to it pretty quickly. So if I go to my travel, because it's not where I live, it's in a different country, a different city. Oh, there's Paris. And if I click on Paris, there's 257 or 357 images there. And I could probably quickly scroll through all of these and find the one I'm looking for. Now, not the most efficient way to do it, but I'm getting there much faster by being able to go to a specific collection for what I want. Now, let's say I went to Paris more than once. Then what I could do is I could have a collection set called Paris, and then I could have a Paris 2018, a Paris 2022, a Paris whatever. And that way I can even get down to the specific trip that I went on. These are just all my Paris images. I've been there multiple times. I just threw them all in one collection. But I can certainly narrow that down by specific trips. So that's one way, or a couple of ways, to find photos quicker. And again, we're gonna talk about keywords right now. So for example, if I click on one of these images, you notice that it has no keywords. So let's say we select a few of these. I'm just going to grab a few of these right now. And if I go into my keywords, then I can actually start naming things in the image. Not so much naming the image, but the actual things that are in it. So for example, Paris, clouds, sky, Eiffel Tower, which I already have a keyword for that. I don't know, daytime, whatever else you might look for. So again, while I'm on one hand used to putting in a lot of keywords that other people might search for Adobe stock, when it comes to my own images, I'm probably not going to put in a bunch of keywords that I'll never look for, because it's great, but it's also a waste of time. So like, I'm probably not going to be looking for daytime. So why waste my time putting that in? But if you're trying to make images searchable for other people, like on stock sites and stuff like that, then you might put in more keywords. But usually 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 keywords, 10 at the most, you're probably going to put in all the ones you would ever look for to find that image. So now if I search for Eiffel Tower, those images are going to come up. If I search for Paris, those images are going to come up. If I search for clouds, those images are going to come up. Sky, those images are going to come up. So that's another way to quickly find images. And you notice I did it to multiple images. So you don't have to do them one by one. You can select as many images as you want to add your keywords to. And so for example, if I go to this one now, you'll notice that the last few keywords, keyword suggestions, are down here because these were the last ones I used. I must have used Jason Levine at some point. So I can just quickly add those to another image if I want. So Paris, France, I didn't add France to the other one, Eiffel Tower, city, skyline, downtown. I can just quickly click on all the ones that are suggested based on previous images that look like this that I did. All right, so keywords, making your images easier to find, is another way to do it. All right, I'm going to go back to my collection that I was working on earlier, get out of travel, and we're going to go back up to my how do I do that in Lightroom Classic. Okay, next up, we're going to talk about just some quick ways of navigation, quick ways of doing things to look around a photo. So for example, we're looking at this image in grid view. So hitting the letter G, whether you're in Lightroom Classic or you're in Lightroom. Someone said I had a camera behind me. Oh, yeah, I do have a camera behind me. Sorry. Thanks. Let's move that up a little bit. That's my hands cam. Don't need it in the shot. Got it. All right. Yeah, just make it a little cleaner. All right. Anyway, thanks for that. So anyway, let's talk. So whether I'm in Lightroom or Lightroom Classic, I have the ability to zoom in on an image. So I'm on grid view, which is G. If I hit E for loop view, it will take me into this view, which is just, it's not full screen, but it's full canvas. So it's showing me the image on the full Lightroom canvas, classic canvas. Now, if I hit the letter F, that takes me into full screen. So that way I don't have to worry about any of the interface around it. I can just go ahead and just hit full screen and get into it. But the Lightroom team recently added some new ways to zoom into your image. Before, you had this magnifying tool and you had a choice. You could either click it, it would go to a predetermined size, like 100%, for example, or you could click it again and it would go back. And that was pretty much it. But if you want to get into specific areas of a photo now, on Mac, you can hold down your Command key. I don't know if you can see it, but you see the little marquee around the zoom tool now, that little rectangle or square. You can zoom into a specific area of the photo, and you can go much closer, and I can see that earring's kind of out of focus, and I can zoom in and out the traditional ways with Command minus on Mac, Control minus on PC, and this works more like Photoshop does, as opposed to the way Lightroom limited you to like 1 to 3 different ways of zooming in, 1 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 3, that was it. So you didn't really have other ways of getting into specific areas. Now you do. So now if I want to just get to the eyes, I can get right to the eyes and quickly get back out. So not only going full screen, but also zooming into specific areas, which is fairly new, like within the last 6 months of Lightroom updates. Next up, in Classic, F wasn't always full screen. It is now, so it's great, F full screen, F again to get out of it. But it used to be F would cycle you through different views of the interface, and now to get to those different views of the interface, you hold down Shift F. So notice what happened. Shift F, so it's basically 3 modes. full screen Lightroom, meaning get rid of the menu bar. It's still there if you go up there, but get rid of the menu bar, get rid of everything around Lightroom. Just show me Lightroom on the screen. Shift F again shows me the title bar, the menu, everything else, all the other stuff. And Shift F, you kind of have this intermediate view, which is get rid of the window title, but keep the menu up there and kind of just get rid of everything else. So yeah, just keep Shift Fing, toggling through these three modes until you find the one you like best. All right, next up, let's talk about another one of my, now this one only works in Classic. Unfortunately, Lightroom doesn't have this view. If you are trying, like you did a photo shoot and you're trying to find your favorite. So you're looking at dozens, if not hundreds of the same scene or the person, maybe they have different poses, whatever, different facial expressions. And that's what I did here. I just grabbed a few of Krista with different facial expressions. And I'm trying to narrow down which one I want to use. So usually that means you could go full screen. Okay, I like that one. Yeah, that was okay. I like that one. But then you kind of quickly forget which one was the first one. Because if you're going through 10, 15, 20 of these, you're not going to remember, what was the one I liked first, second, third? I like this one, but I don't know if I like it better than the first one I saw. So you have to end up going back. Oh yeah, that's the one. So to avoid all that, you can go into what's called compare mode. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key and select two photos. Now that I've got two photos selected, I just hit the letter C. When I hit the letter C, that shows me those two photos side by side. But it's a little bit more than just side by side. You notice that there are some identifiers around the window. So it says, this is your current select. This is the one on the right is your current candidate, meaning you like this one on the left the best so far. The one on the right, do you like it better than the one on the left? If not, click the arrows down here and you can use your keyboard as well. Click the arrow on the right to see the next one. Do you like that one better? Yes or no? And if the answer is yes, then you have a little swap here to swap it so that it becomes a select, and now the other ones are the candidates. So this way you can quickly find when you're going through several images, you're trying to figure out which one you like best, you can use this compare mode. So, oh yeah, okay. I like that one. She's got a nice smile there. That's great. Maybe I like that one the best. And then I just keep going through the various candidates to see, oh, that was it. So now that I like that one best, now that's what we're going to go to next is identifying your favorite shots. So if this is my favorite now, I can go here and I can give it 5 stars. I can give it a flag, pick flag down here in the lower left-hand corner. I can identify that quickly. And when I go back to grid, it now has all those things. So 3 ways of quickly identifying your favorite or best photos. 1, pick flag. So letter P on Classic, and unfortunately they changed it on the other Lightroom to the, and here let me go to grid, regular grid, to the letter Z for some reason. So it's Z, and I know why, because it's right next to X. So you're either rejecting a photo or you're marking it as a pick, but I wish it was P like the other program because I'm just so used to P. So if I go, you can see it right here happening. If I zoom in, you'll see it. So that's a reject and that's a pick just by me hitting the letter Z or the letter X. Now, what if I want to unflag it? Like I don't want it to be either one. Then that's the letter U on your keyboard. So that's universal between both apps. The letter U is unflag, and Z in Lightroom is pick, P in Lightroom Classic is pick, X is reject in both of them. So that's the only keyboard shortcut difference is the pick. And of course you have you have stars. So you can say, for example, maybe this one I like, but I don't like it as well as another one. So I hit the letter 4 and make it a 4-star. Hit the letter 3 and make it a 3-star. Hit the letter 5 or number 5, number 5, and it's a 5-star. So that way you can identify it that way that you like it. Why do you need multiples? because I'm going to give you the reason why in just a second. Lastly, and this is another classic feature, Lightroom doesn't have this one. So it has, both have flags and stars. Classic has one more, which is color labels. So remember we do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0 for no stars? Well, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are colors in Classic. So I've hit the letter, or hit the number 6, that marks it with red. Number 7 marks it with yellow. Number 8 marks it with green. Number 9 marks it with blue. There is another color. There's one more color. It just doesn't have a number associated with it. But you can absolutely give it that color from here. So purple. So there is a purple as well. So right click on it. You can set it to purple. They just don't have a number for it. So if you like purple as your color, purple will be your color. And the reason I don't ever use purple is because it doesn't have a keyboard shortcut. So I don't ever think to use it. All right, so why would you use any one of these? Pick flag, stars, or in Classic color labels as well. Because if it's just you, meaning your images, you're the only one that approves them, you're the only one, like you took them for you and they're just for you, you don't need all three. Probably only need one of them. Pick flag. Yep, it's my favorite of my shoot. For me, pick the ones you like. Done. But if you're doing this for other people, like clients, or let's say I'm giving these to, letting Krista pick hers, so forth and so on, then I do things a little differently. So while I'm in the shoot, while I'm in the studio shooting tethered, I might go into the one, like I see one come up on the screen. Oh my God, I really love that expression. It looks so sincere. So I might hit the number 8, number 8, which is green. I just years ago picked, even though I don't even like green. Green's not my favorite color. I picked green at some point as my color. So if I see green, that means Terry liked it. I liked it. Great. What if she says, standing there, just, oh, I really like this one. I really like that expression. Then, well, I can't use green. And she might like it right now, but she may not like it later when she actually goes through the images to pick them. So I don't want to mark it as a pick. I can't mark it as green because that's mine. So how can I indicate that that's one of her favorites? I just use a different color. I use blue. So blue is the model likes it, or the client. Green, I like it. What if there's a third party, a makeup artist, a hairstylist, a wardrobe stylist, a set person, someone else that likes it? Then I was like, okay, I can't use green, can't use blue. Next best thing, yellow. So that way I assigned different colors for the people that might be standing next to me as they say, oh, they yell out, oh, I like that one, or so forth and so on. So if I see these colors at a glance, not purple, because I don't use purple, but if I see these colors at a glance, I know at a glance which ones I liked, which ones they liked. So that's one of my favorite things in Classic, and I really wish Lightroom had color labels because it's so visual. It's so easy to see at a glance which ones you like. So since Lightroom doesn't have labels, but it does have pick flags and it does have stars, I use stars. So if it's a 5-star, I really liked it. If it's a 4-star, they really liked it. If it's a 3-star, the assistant really liked it. Until I come up with something better. Now, why don't I use the pick flags? Because I may send her this gallery of all her photos and she doesn't pick this blue one. So I'm not going to waste time with a pick flag on an image she didn't actually choose that she really, really wanted. So maybe she likes this first one, and therefore when she sends me back her selections, that becomes a pick. So I reserve pick for the client, whoever the client is, whether it's me or whether it's them. Whoever the client is, their final, yes, these are the ones I want you to retouch. These are the ones I want you to use. I use a P. All right, I don't understand what you mean by fringe color. Okay, you're talking to Barry. All right, I was going to say, I don't get what you mean. All right, my favorite colors are black and white and gray. Okay, people got jokes today. All right, anyway, it's not easy being green. No, it isn't. All right, so those are the ways. And again, everyone has their own system. This is not by any means law. This is just something I came up with years ago, and it's worked out great for me. I've had no reason to change it. You can use any method you want. You can use any combination of methods you want to determine whatever you want. So maybe, like, for example, she likes this one too, and I liked it, so it becomes a pick and it's green. So that one gets retouched, and it was going to get retouched anyway because it's one of the ones I wanted. So that way it just makes it easy for me to know at a glance who wants what. And it also lets me know at a glance by letting Lightroom find them for me. So if I say Lightroom, show me all my, not my 5 stars, show me all my picks. So that shows me all the ones that either the client wanted or I wanted. Or show me all the ones I really like. Show me my green. So those are the 3 that I picked from the different shoots that I really liked. So that way I can quickly get to whatever I'm looking for in a collection that maybe has 500 images in it or 1,000 images in it, because I've already gone through and I've already just quickly found the ones I want. I use picks and colors where is always what I'll print. Great. Yeah, Corinna's got her, I'm assuming it's her from the name. I can't see the icon. Corinna has their method of picking. Green as always. All right, great. Okay. All right, next up. So you notice that if I zoom in on one of these images, on one of these thumbnails, you can kind of see some data at the top. You see an index number, 1, 2, 3, 4, so forth and so on. You see the file name, you see the file type, and you see the cropped resolution. If it's not cropped, you just see the full resolution. Can you change that? Like, can you change this data to be something else? Yes, you can. So how do I change what I see on the grid? First and foremost, you may not even be seeing the grid if you're in Lightroom Classic, because what you have to do is change it to expanded cells. So under View, under Grid View Style, there's something called expanded cells, and it's not on by default. By default, it's compact cells. So if this is all you're seeing and you're saying, Terry, I don't even see the name, I don't see anything else, how are you seeing all that? It's because years ago, I switched it from compact view to expanded cells. That shows me all that extra information. Now, how do I change what I see? If I go into my view options, then you get to designate whether you're in loop view, what you see, or whether you're in grid view, what you see. So first of all, I'm on expanded cells, and I've got all of this stuff showing. Great. And if I come all the way down to compact cells extras, this is where I determine what I see around the image. So in the upper left corner, we see the index. We see the file name. We see the rating and label at the bottom of the image. And, oh, I'm sorry, that was compact. This is what I want. So we see the index number. We see the file name. We see the crop dimensions. We see the file extension. You can change any one of these to whatever you want. So let's say instead of the crop dimensions, I want to see the date and time. I want to see when it was taken. So I can zoom out, close this, and now in my expanded cells, I no longer see the resolution. I see the date that image was captured. So if that's more important to you, you can quickly change it to something else. Change it to what's important to you. And that's one of those things I love about Classic, is that it's customizable like that. So I really get to see what I'm looking for. All right. Next up. So I've been doing this a lot already in this class, but I want to point out, in case people missed it or just don't get it, some tips about selecting multiple photos. I use keyboard shortcuts most of the time, but sometimes I'll shift click. So if I wanted all the photos in this collection, and by the way, when a photo is selected, it just gets a brighter white frame or gray frame around it. Darker gray, lighter gray, or color. And then it gets the color becomes a border, and then you still get the lighter gray. So you always know which one's selected because it's got the lightest gray around it. If I want to select more than one, well, I can hold down my shift key and select contiguous. So I can say, okay, I clicked on one, held down my shift key, and I clicked on the 5th one, and now all 5 are selected. If I want to select discontiguous, like I want this one, and the 1st one, 3rd one, and 5th one, Then I would hold down on Mac, Command key, Windows Control key. And this is pretty much the same across most applications. So that's how you would do a discontiguous selection. So if I wanted to export those three, I want to move those three to a different collection, whatever, that's the way I would do it. Now, if if I want it all selected, that's Command A on Mac, PC, Control A. Select all, how many ever images are in this collection, all 31 images in this collection. The one thing I recently learned, a couple years ago, but I learned like late in my Lightroom life, is what if I want to deselect? I don't want them all selected. And the problem is if you click on any one of them, it just makes that the focus image, meaning that that's the image you're focused on if you went to the develop module, but they're all still selected. Now, I did know that under your edit menu, there is a select none, Command D, just like in Photoshop. So PC Control D, that will select no photo. But I wanted a quicker way to just click to not select. And it was actually Benjamin Ward. I watched one of his videos once, and more than once, but I watched one of his videos before, and he showed this quick tip, and I was like, oh my God, he just saved my life from here on out. I have everything selected. I only want to select the second one. If I click on the second one, it still selects everything else because I'm clicking on the actual thumbnail. But if I click above the thumbnail into the gray area or below the thumbnail into the gray area, it selects that photo and deselects everything else. So if you had multiple photos selected and you decided, I only want this landscape of Iceland selected, I just click above the thumbnail and it deselects that everything else, and that one gets selected. Now, in that case, I would have clicked either way and it would have selected them all, or deselected them all. But in any case, you're all selected and you just want one, just don't click on the picture. Click above or below the picture and it will select just that one. All right. Do you have a most effective, easiest? Moat avoid? I don't know what that means, Barry. Moat, I don't know if that's a typo. So ask the question again. All right, so that's the way to select, deselect, select none. So if I again had them all selected with a Command A, a Command D selects none of them. So that's, again, quick ways, again, from Photoshop. Deselect, how to deselect just one. Sure. Let's say they're all selected and I want to deselect this second one. Hold down your Command key on Mac, Control key on Windows, and click on the picture, and that will deselect that one. So the rest are selected still, but that one isn't. Again, clicking on the outside the picture area will select that one. So thanks, that was the one I had forgot about. All right, now we're going to get into renaming the photos. So Thomas says, aha, I could have used that tip. I removed a bunch of photos by mistake. I know, that's what happens. Because you forget they're all selected and you go do something thinking you're only doing it to one photo and it ends up doing it to 500. Yeah, like delete or like edit. So you got to be mindful of what's selected at all times in Classic. All right, renaming. So I talked about that. I gave that Paris example. Do I still have that Paris folder open? Because remember those images were not named. They were still the camera names. Nope, wrong one. Let's go to travel. Let's go back to that Paris folder, or Paris collection, I should say. Paris collection, scroll down. These are named. They're just named the camera names. So I hate the camera names. Duh, I don't ever want just the camera names. So I'm going to select all of these. I've clicked the first one, held down the Shift key, selected the last one, selects them all. I don't need these two, even though they're near the Eiffel Tower. They're not really Eiffel Tower. So I Command or Control on Windows, click those two to deselect. All right, so great. There's more Eiffel Towers. I could go select those two by holding down the Command key. But you get the idea. I got all these Eiffel Tower images. How many more? Jesus Christ. All right, how many more Eiffel Tower images do I have? I'm not going to do them all, but here we go. I guess I could name those two. All right. I could be here all day. All right, so anyway, I got them all selected, and now I want to rename them. And they're named, whatever they were named by that particular camera that I shot them with way back when. So DSC 1679. So I'm going to go into my my photo menu, and I'm going to come down to, I'm going to go to my library menu. I'm going to come down to my library menu and come down to rename photos. When I say rename photos, notice that my file naming is on a custom setting. Let's go edit that custom setting so you can see what it is. It's basically whatever custom text I put in and a sequence number with 4 digits. And I'll explain the 4 digits in a minute. But you can do a sequence number of 1 digit. You can do a sequence number of 2 digits. You can do a sequence number of up to 5 digits. You can do whatever you want. So that's what I do for my custom naming. So let me cancel out of that and zoom out and rename them. So I'm just going to say Eiffel Tower. And you notice it's giving you a preview of what it's going to rename them as. So Eiffel Tower number 1, 2, 3, 4 digits. Now, why do I want the 4 digits as opposed to just 1? And then when it's 10, it'll be 10. When it's 100, it'll be 100. Because back when I used to send out galleries through a web thing in Lightroom that I had way back then, a plugin, and the person picked their photos. So let's say they liked number 1, and they liked number 15, and they liked number 120. Well, if I searched for number 1 to find the number 1 photo, it would still bring up 15 and 120 because it had a 1 in it. So this way, 1 is 0001. It will be unique. There will not be another number like that with that name. So I just got in the habit of getting away from single digit numbers and using 4 digits. Now, why 4 instead of 5 or why 4 instead of 3? Because I'm never going to shoot, I shouldn't say never. I've never shot more than 1,000 images or 2,000 images in one shoot. I'm never going to shoot 9,999 more than that in one shoot. So 4 is enough for me because I might shoot over 999, but I'm not going to shoot over 9,999 in one shot, in one shoot. I shouldn't say never, but it's yet to happen. So now when I click OK, Lightroom is renaming those images, not just in Lightroom. I just want to be very clear. It's also renaming them in the folder on the operating system where they exist. So those files out in wherever they are stored also got renamed. All right. Yeah, like the Eiffel Tower apparently. It's kind of hard to go to Paris and not get a shot of the Eiffel Tower. See, I shot other things. But people won't believe you if you go to Paris and you don't get it. You didn't go to Paris. I don't see it. I'm looking through all your photos. I don't see a single shot of the Eiffel Tower. So you got to take one just in case someone doesn't believe you went there. You can go shoot other things, cafes, building, architecture, museums, whatever. But you got to get that obligatory one Eiffel Tower shot. All right. And I shot a lot. So I think that was on my first trip because I couldn't believe I was standing in front of the Eiffel Tower that I'd heard so much about. All right, so renaming your photos. Again, now that's going to help me find those photos because they're named Eiffel Tower. And so if I ever just search for Eiffel Tower, I'm going to find them because no matter if I don't ever remember where they're located or what collections they're in. All right. So you notice that when I was in that compare mode, like when I was comparing the two photos like that, well, they're kind of small. They're bigger than thumbnails, but they're not as big as they could be. So, no, that's not, the real Paris, not Vegas. They're not as big as they could be because these panels are taking up space. So one of the quick tips, and this also works in other Adobe applications for hiding your panels, like I don't want to get rid of them completely, but I do want them out of my way, just hit the tab key. So if you hit your tab key, that toggles the panel view on or off so you can see so much more of what you're working on. Now, I mentioned compare view. I'm going to throw in a bonus one. Let's go ahead and select all of these. I'm going to hit the letter N for, the mode is survey mode. I don't know why it's an N. So N like Nancy, survey mode brings up all the photos you selected. And of course, you get rid of the panels. You can see them bigger. Compare is for like, I like this one. Next. I like this one better. Switch it over. Compare or survey mode lets you see everything you selected. And then you can say, well, out of these, I don't like this one as much. So you can just, you're eliminating it from the view. You're not eliminating it. You didn't delete the photo. Well, okay, now that I see these 5 together, which one do I like best? Well, I like that expression better than this expression. Close that one. So you're narrowing down which ones you like best from multiple photos in survey mode. And then while they're, by the way, they're still, so now 4 photos are selected. I can hit 5 stars. I can hit pick flag. I can hit color label, and they will all get that designation. So for example, let's just for the sake of argument, let's make them 6. We'll make them all red so we know. And then now if I go to those, ooh, it did not make them all red. Hang on. Oh, they still have to be selected. Okay. Sorry about that. Now I can go ahead and make them whatever I want. All right. So now they're all red. And now that I want us to get out of that, those were the 4 selected, and they all got the red color label, or the 5 stars, or the pick flag, or the whatever you wanted. So that's another, or the reject flag. That's another way to quickly get through picking your favorites and narrowing down from a selection of images which ones you like best. Okay, next up, and again, tab gets rid of your panels. Now, you can temporarily get rid of the panels with the tab key, but if you want a panel to kind of stay closed until you need it, but you don't want to close it, there's a little arrow to the right or left of or the bottom or top of the panel, this little arrow all the way on the edge, that little arrow right there. That lets you hide that panel without hiding the other panels. So that panel is now hidden. And if I just move my mouse in that area or to that direction, there we go. It pops out long enough for me to use it. I didn't click. It just popped out. I can use it now. And when I go away, it goes away. So if I hover over there, I get to use it. When I move away from it, it's gone. So that's another just panel tip. And of course that works in the panels at the top and bottom as well. So you can get rid of the panels or the film strip or the things you don't need to see based on whichever one of the 4 arrows you click on. All right. Let's get into some editing. So let's go ahead and open up this one. I'm going to go over to develop. And first one is how do I, because again, these are all, how do I do that in Lightroom Classic or Lightroom? How do I automatically adjust or expand the tonal range of my image? Now, you've seen me use auto tone a million times, and auto tone's great, and I still use it a million times all the time. Like I always click it, see what I get. If I like it, great. If I don't like it. But even before you do your auto tone, you can expand the range of your dynamic range of your image with a very hidden tip. Like there's no way you would ever know this works. Hold down your shift key and click either the handle for whites or blacks or the word whites or blacks. You're going to do them both. So if I double click and I double click, it sets the numbers for the dynamic range for that photo. So I didn't type in 1, I didn't move it over just a little or move it over to 20. That's what it determined the total or the expanded dynamic range or tonal range for the image should be. So every image is going to be different. You double click it, sometimes the sliders may really move, sometimes only one will really move, it depends on the image, but that's just a quick way of expanding the tonal range. All right. Change the color behind Lightroom, behind your image. So you notice that I got this light gray behind it. I don't really like the light gray. I kind of want like no gray. Like I just want the image to be dark or the image to be there and not have any distraction around it. So you can right click on this little border, this little edge, and you can set whatever you want. So I usually work with black. That way, I was hovering over a preset, like, oh, I gotta change the image. If you hover over, if you right click on the edge, you can change it to whatever you want. So if you like white behind your images, because some people like to see that matte look. They like to see what it would look like if it was mounted. And I prefer the dark color, not distracting me, not taking away from my image at all. And of course, you've got everything in between. All right. Well, good. Thomas says, I'm so new to Lightroom. I was using different software for editing, decided to switch to Lightroom and quickly became overwhelmed. Your videos have been helpful with the basics. Good. That's what I try and do. All right, next up, changing the background. Adjust multiple images at once. This always comes up. So let's, I guess we could keep using the Krista images since we have multiples of those. So let's say I wanted to adjust all of these images or, all of these images at once. Well, first of all, you got to select them. We already learned how to do that. When I head over to the develop module, by default, your sync is set this way. If you don't change it, it just says the word sync. So that means if you adjust one image, nothing will happen to the other 5. I think I have 6 selected. Yeah, nothing will happen to the other 5. But if I just turn it on, flip it up, then it switches from sync to auto sync. So that means whatever I do to the first one will happen to all of them. And so that's great because maybe you have 300 images that need a white balance, same white balance correction. So select all 300, make sure auto sync is turned. I never turn it off, I just leave it on. Make sure auto sync is turned on, and then whenever you fix the white balance in one, it's going to fix it for all 300. Now you're only going to ever see the most selected image, meaning the one that's got the lighter gray around it, even though you got multiple ones selected. You're only going to see only one in the develop module at a time, but you can see in the film strip behind me, they're all still selected. So now, for example, if I were to switch this one to black and white, and then I get out of this one and go back to the grid, they're all black and white because they were all selected and I had auto sync turned on. So auto sync is amazing for quickly getting through an edit and getting through, I just undo, switch, and got it back. For quickly getting through several images at the same time. Next up, what if you don't want to do everything to every image? So for example, let's select just this one. Let's go to the development tool and let's do some things to it. Let's say that we do an auto tone. Ooh, that did not like the auto tone. See, this is where sometimes I don't like what it did. I go into a lens correction, I apply the lens correction, and I go back into the basic panel, and I see if I can adjust the white. I just can't really fix the white balance without a gray there. Let's see if that'll do. Oh, that worked. Okay, I fixed the white balance, and I don't want any saturation, but I do want vibrance, and I do all these things, and I add. I go down to my details and I add a little bit of sharpening based on masking. So I'm holding down my Option or Alt key and I'm dragging the masking slider until her skin becomes completely black or silhouetted, and the only details we see are the edges. So we see her lips, we see her hair, we see her dress, we see her earring. So you can drag the slider. If I leave it completely white, that means everything gets sharpened. What I'm trying to do is not sharpen her skin. So this way I get just those areas that were white sharpened. Okay, so now I've done all those things to that photo. You'll notice that because I didn't have multiple photos selected, there's no auto sync, but there is copy and paste. So if I click copy, I can say, I like all the things I did to this photo and I want to copy everything so I can paste it on other photos, or I can pick and choose. I can say select nothing and only give me the sharpening. I just want to apply the sharpening to the other photos because I took the time to do it. Copy. Now, when I go back out and I select the rest of these, not that one, and I go into develop, I can now click paste. And you won't see a big visual difference. It just pasted, just said it updated 5 images. So it just pasted the sharpening to those 5 images. So this way, you have the ability to do the same adjustment to multiple photos at the same time. You have the ability to pick and choose which adjustment you made to a photo you want to apply to other photos. So this way, it doesn't get everything you did. It only gets the things you checked off in the copy dialog box. All right, we're running. We got like 6 minutes left. Let's quickly get through a couple more of these. We did adjust multiple images at once. We did, I want to just do this real quick. Let's say you make an adjustment. Let's go to basic. And I'm just going to really like overexpose it. Now, when I go to the next photo, if I want the next photo to have exactly what I did to the last photo, meaning the previous photo, there is a button in develop right here called previous. So just do it again. to this photo. And I love that because a lot of times I make an adjustment, next photo, yeah, give me the same thing I just did. Next photo, yeah, give me the same thing I just did. And I get to the next photo, oh no, I want to do something different. So that's a quick way of getting exactly what you just did to the last photo. So now I have two photos that are super overexposed, both of these. So undo, 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 and put them back. All right. Next up, how to have multiple versions. So in Lightroom Classic, we have a feature called virtual copies. In Lightroom, we have a feature called versions. So they're a little different. For example, with virtual copies, oh, actually, I should say in Lightroom Classic, we have snapshots. In Lightroom, we have versions, because those would be two things that are more similar or close to each other. So, but in Classic, we have another feature called virtual copies. So with virtual copies, create a virtual copy under the photo menu or command quote, PC control quote. That will give me an identical thumbnail to the one I just selected, but it will have one attribute that looks different. It'll say the word copy, by the way. That'll be the name of it. And it'll have the little dog-eared page or thumbnail. Lets me know visually that's a virtual copy. With the virtual copy, I can go in and do something different without affecting the original. So for example, I could go in and make it a black and white, just quickly, visual difference. And that way, get back. That way, oh, what did I do? Oh, no, I didn't mean to add that. Added it to the target collection. I hit the letter B by mistake. That way we get the one original color, we get the black and white, and I can have as many virtual copies as I want. One cropped, one black and white, one dual tone, one whatever, and export them all out as separate photos, even though there's still only one photo in Lightroom. Now, you also have the ability to go in and create, if we're going to the Develop module, you also have the ability in Classic to create what's called a snapshot. So I could say, I'm just going to throw off the tonal here just so we can see it. Just give me a snapshot of that photo. I'm going to call it Blue Girl or Blue Woman. All right, so now, and I have the original and I have Blue Girl. So that's a snapshot that I can always get back to a previous snapshot or get to the one that I made adjustments to because this is all non-destructive. So the difference is virtual copies give me multiple photos. Snapshots are one photo with multiple versions. Now, in the new Lightroom, you actually have something called versions. So if I go into the editing and I go into versions, I can see it looks very similar to snapshots in Classic. You can create as many versions as you want, and you can see I have the original. This is the original out of the camera shot with my D850 at 48 megapixels, but of course, still a small moon. We want to see the big one. So I cropped it. I sharpened it. I did everything to it. I love the fact that this lens was so sharp I could even see freaking craters. Oh my God. Tamron, 150 millimeters, 600 millimeter on a D850, 48 megapixels. It's heaven. So I get to see my moon shot in great detail cropped, and I still have enough resolution to give me a decent print. So with that, I have my original. I have my finished version, and I can go and create another version that's, so let's go create, let's do something else to it. Okay, let's just, again, we'll brighten the shadows, and I can create a new version of that called Shadows. So now I have the brighter shadow version, I have the finished version, I have the original. So you can create as many versions as you want, not taking up any extra space. That's the beauty of versions. All right. Where did my moon go? Undo. Let's go back to the other version. I like that one. And now we'll get out of it. There we go. Full screen. Moonshot. Love it. All right, we got like 30 seconds left. Do I have time for one more? Oh, crop. So let's get back to that one more time. Details. Let's get back to that original version. And how did I get to that, to zoom in like that? I did a crop, obviously. I just cropped it into it so we could see it more. But I just want to point out that while you're cropping, you can also hit the letter X to toggle between a portrait or landscape crop. So now I could crop it this way, for example, and really tight into it and move it up there and create another version and call that one vertical. Alrighty. So that way I get that, that version as well. I liked it the way it zoomed out like that. I don't know why it's not showing the preview. But anyway, folks, I am out of time. And I hope that you got something out of this. Now, how would I do that in Lightroom? I have more, so we'll maybe do a part 2 of this one. But next week is same thing, but with Photoshop. How would I do this with Photoshop? And I've got different topics for that as well. All right, so with that said, I am going to say goodbye, and I hope you got something out of this. And again, stay tuned for the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge. And, oh, giving away the book. Giving away the book. Let me grab somebody. So randomly, I'm just going to scroll real quick and pick a name. All right, Brandon Hussey. Brandon Hussey, you want a copy of Scott's book. I will follow you, and I will be in touch. All right, cheers, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.